Tyrannosaurus rex, the heaviest land predator ever to walk the earth. One of evolution's ultimate extremes, both fascinating and unsettling, a creature that has stirred human imagination for more than a century. Only in recent years has modern technology begun to reveal how this animal truly lived. And what we've discovered is that the wonder of T-Rex goes far beyond its size. It belonged to a group of giants known as megatheropods, huge carnivorous dinosaurs with unique hunting strategies. But Tyrannosaurus had, without a doubt, the most brutal one of all. It is by far the best known and most thoroughly studied dinosaur, offering not just a window into other dinosaurs, but also into the deep past of our planet itself. In this documentary, we will first examine T-Rex itself, its features, anatomy, and life appearance, comparing it to other megatheropods. Next, we'll explore its environment, the world it lived in, its rivals, and its prey. Finally, we'll uncover how closely related it was to modern birds, how its ancestors evolved, how it rose to dominance, and why it ultimately vanished from the Earth. This is the rise and fall of the king of the dinosaurs. Not a movie monster, but a real animal, born, grown, fought, and endured one of the harshest lives science has ever reconstructed. This is the story of the evolution of Tyrannosaurus rex. In the far north lives the polar bear, a predator that can weigh close to a ton and stand more than 3 meters tall. It is the largest land hunter alive today, built for survival on the frozen ocean. Polar bears are semi-aquatic, spending much of their lives on ice and in water. They hunt seals and can swim for days, an extreme way of life for a land mammal. Most predators larger than the polar bear are tied to the water: giant crocodiles, orcas, sperm whales. In water, size is less restricted, which is why aquatic animals can grow far bigger than land ones. But Tyrannosaurus rex was not semi-aquatic. It was a land predator, and one of astonishing proportions. The fact that an animal this large could thrive on land is extraordinary. Creatures like T-Rex are evolutionary rarities. Only a few times in history have ecosystems supported predators this extreme, among them Spinosaurus and Giganotosaurus. T-Rex was a freak of biology. Never before, and very likely never again, will a land predator of this scale walk the Earth. The story of its discovery began in the early 1900s. Barnum Brown of the American Museum of Natural History uncovered 34 fossilized bones from a new kind of predator. In 1905, Henry Osborn gave it a name that would endure: Tyrannosaurus rex, meaning king of the terrible lizards. At first, only a few fossils were known. But starting in the 1960s, discoveries accelerated. Today, more than 40 skeletons have been found, some nearly complete. The most famous specimen, called Sue, is the most complete T-Rex ever discovered, almost the entire animal preserved in stone. Over more than a century, our image of T-Rex has changed. Early versions showed it upright with a dragging tail, later sleeker and horizontal, and now as a muscular predator, possibly feathered. One key find was its gastralia, extra belly ribs that supported strong muscles and revealed a broad, barrel-shaped torso built for strength. So how big was it really? An average adult Tyrannosaurus rex weighed around 7 tons, similar to the largest African elephants. The biggest, nicknamed Scotty, may have reached nearly 9 tons. Standing 4 meters tall at the hips and stretching 12 meters long, its body was carried on 2 massive legs. Its head was enormous, wide and heavy, supported by a thick, muscular neck. At the front were its famously tiny arms, just 2 fingers, small compared to its size, but far stronger than a human's. Its hind legs were thick and muscular, ending in wide, padded feet. These pads likely muffled its steps, letting it move with surprising stealth like a giant cat. Behind it stretched a long, powerful tail that helped balance its massive head and stored energy reserves. Compared to other giant hunters, T-Rex was shorter in length but far heavier. This made it the most robust of the megatheropods. Spinosaurus, more than 15 meters long, was longer than T-Rex, but lighter. Built for riversides, it used its long snout and conical teeth to fish, more like a colossal heron than a land hunter. Giganotosaurus and Carcharodontosaurus were also longer than T-Rex but slimmer. Their tall, axe-shaped skulls and blade-like teeth were designed for quick, slicing attacks. When viewed from above, the sheer width of the T-Rex skull stands out. That bulk carried through its entire body, explaining why it outweighed its rivals by at least 2 tons. Its tiny arms have long been ridiculed, but studies of the bones and muscle attachments show they were strong, capable of powerful pulling motions, perhaps to grip prey or during mating. Young T-Rex had relatively larger, more useful arms. As it grew, its arms didn't keep pace with its body, leaving the iconic shrunken forelimbs of the adult. Most theropods had 3 fingers, but T-Rex had only 2. Fossils reveal a tiny remnant of a 3rd finger, shrunken away by evolution. Fossil droppings prove T-Rex ate meat and could even digest bone. Most remains are from young dinosaurs, showing it often went after the weak instead of fighting fully grown prey. Facing an adult Triceratops was extremely dangerous. Hunting smaller or younger prey was a safer, smarter move. Like birds, T-Rex had a one-way breathing system with air sacs, making it more oxygen efficient, lighter, and more agile than mammals its size. Fossil skin shows a mix: thick, scaly armor in some places, with bristle-like feathers or quills in others, especially in younger individuals. Relatives like Yutyrannus were fully feathered, suggesting young tyrannosaurs may have had coats of feathers they shed as they matured. Its colors remain a mystery. It might have been camouflaged in dull grays like elephants, or bright and patterned like modern birds, used for display or mating. Tiny skull openings suggest T-Rex probably had lips covering its teeth, like a Komodo dragon, not always exposed like in movies. Bony ridges show it may have had small keratin horns above the eyes and cheeks, giving it a devilish, horned look. Many fossils show painful injuries, broken bones, tooth loss, even jaw infections with holes. Yet T-Rex often survived them, showing its resilience and toughness. The age of dinosaurs lasted around 180 million years, spread across 3 great periods: the Triassic, Jurassic, and Cretaceous. The first tyrannosaurs appeared in the Middle Jurassic, about 100 million years before Tyrannosaurus rex itself. But for most of that time, they weren't giants. For almost 80 million years, tyrannosaurs were small, secondary predators, overshadowed by larger hunters. Only in the last 20 million years of the Cretaceous did they finally bulk up, surpassing a ton in weight. T-Rex itself lived only during the very end of the dinosaur era, the final 2 million years of the Cretaceous. It was still alive when the asteroid struck, making it one of the last of its kind. The world T-Rex lived in looked very different from today. During the Late Cretaceous, the continents were more fragmented with higher sea levels, over 100 meters higher than today. This created shallow inland seas, including the vast western interior seaway that split North America in 2. This most dangerous sea in history was filled with giant marine reptiles like mosasaurs and plesiosaurs. By the time T-Rex thrived, the seaway was shrinking, reconnecting western Laramidia with eastern Appalachia. The late Cretaceous climate was warmer, wetter, and covered in dense forests. Flowering plants were exploding in diversity in an evolutionary turning point called the Cretaceous Terrestrial Revolution. Each continent was isolated, acting like its own evolutionary lab. In Asia and North America, tyrannosaurs ruled, but in South America, Africa, and Europe, entirely different groups of predators dominated. One of the best windows into T-Rex life is the Hell Creek Formation in what's now the western United States. Back then, it was a swampy coastal plain, cut through by deltas that spilled into a shallow sea. Wildfires often cleared forests, making way for fast-growing plants and rich grazing grounds. This ecosystem supported huge populations of herbivores. Among the most common were the duck-billed hadrosaur Edmontosaurus, stretching over 10 meters, and the enormous horned dinosaurs Triceratops and Torosaurus. These weren't just big, they were the largest of their kind to ever exist. The skies weren't empty either. Pterosaurs like Quetzalcoatlus soared overhead, as tall as giraffes with wingspans of 10 meters. They may have acted like vultures of the Cretaceous, gliding for miles and homing in on carcasses, including those left by T-Rex kills. But the most legendary rivalry of the time was between T-Rex and Triceratops. Fossil evidence shows they coexisted in large numbers, likely locked in a predator-prey arms race. For millions of years, each pushed the other to extremes. T-Rex evolved bone-crushing jaws, while Triceratops grew bigger horns and thicker frills. Hunting an adult Triceratops was always risky. A single horn strike could kill even a full-grown tyrannosaur. This explains why many T-Rex fossils suggest they targeted juveniles instead. Meanwhile, Triceratops laid huge numbers of eggs, dozens per clutch, to replace the young lost to predators. In fact, most Triceratops herds were made up of juveniles. Adults were a minority since so many young were eaten. This cycle of predation and reproduction turned T-Rex and Triceratops into evolutionary partners, locked in one of nature's fiercest rivalries until the very end of the dinosaur age. One of the longest-running myths about Tyrannosaurus rex is that it was too slow and too clumsy to hunt, surviving only as a scavenger. But science tells a very different story. Studies of its skeleton show it could run at over 30 kilometers per hour. That might not sound like much, but it's Olympic sprinter speed, and this was a creature weighing more than an elephant. Its feet had a special feature called the arctometatarsalian condition, where the middle bone was pinched between the outer ones. This clever design absorbed shock and made running more efficient, like a built-in spring for long-distance travel. Still, chasing prey over long distances wasn't its main tactic. Fossils show it was an ambush predator. In one famous case, an Edmontosaurus skeleton was found with a T-Rex tooth lodged in its healed backbone. The hadrosaur survived, proving T-Rex attacked live prey. Its big eyes and night vision gave it an edge, and its padded feet let it move more quietly than you'd expect from something so huge. Like a tiger, it relied on stealth and power, striking suddenly and decisively. Fossils of shattered bones confirm its brutal feeding style. Its jaws didn't just cut, they crushed. Using its massive neck, it could puncture and pull, tearing out chunks of meat and bone in one wrenching motion. Almost no other animal in history has had teeth strong enough to do this. But those bone-crushing jaws weren't only for hunting. Many T-Rex fossils show bite marks on the faces and skulls of other tyrannosaurs. These were likely from brutal fights over territory, mates, or kills, much like hippos today, which often bite rivals with deadly force. Despite this violence, life wasn't all battles. Like all animals, T-Rex had to reproduce. We don't know exactly how mating worked, but some scientists think they may have formed long-term pairs, possibly even monogamous bonds, thanks to their intelligence and social behavior. And every giant started small. T-Rex eggs were less than a meter long, and hatchlings were no bigger than a turkey. They likely had feathers, long slender bodies and big eyes, very different from the bulky adults they would become. Fossil bones show growth rings, like tree rings, revealing that no T-Rex lived past about 30 years. To reach full size that quickly, they grew at astonishing rates, sometimes over 100 kilograms per year during adolescence. Between ages 10 and 20, they went through an explosive growth spurt. Young tyrannosaurs weren't just miniature adults. With longer legs and lighter builds, they were fast, agile hunters that chased smaller prey. Over time, they shifted diets, bugs and reptiles as hatchlings, medium animals as teenagers, and massive herbivores as adults. Scientists call this an ontogenetic niche shift. This ability to fill different ecological roles may explain why T-Rex environments had fewer small predator species. The youngsters filled those jobs themselves. Some scientists even think tyrannosaurs may have hunted in groups, with juveniles chasing prey toward the massive adults. If true, that would make them some of the most cooperative and intelligent hunters in prehistory. Other researchers argue adults and juveniles lived separately, with the youngsters in forests chasing small animals while adults dominated open plains. Either way, it's clear that T-Rex ruled every stage of its life, from tiny feathered chick to unstoppable apex predator. To understand how Tyrannosaurus rex came to dominate its world, we need to follow its family tree. Early on, dinosaurs split into two main groups: ornithischians, the plant eaters including stegosaurs, ceratopsians and hadrosaurs, and saurischians, which included the long-necked sauropods and the bipedal, mostly carnivorous theropods. Within theropods, tyrannosaurs belonged to the advanced group Tetanurae, which also produced predators like Spinosaurus and Giganotosaurus, as well as the more bird-like Coelurosaurs. Amazingly, this means that Rex was actually closer to modern birds than to Spinosaurus or Giganotosaurus. The first tyrannosaurs were small. Kilescus, discovered in Siberia in 2010, was only 3 to 4 meters long and hunted small animals like lizards, turtles, and mammals. Its skull already had traits that would define later tyrannosaurs: fused nasal bones, a rounded snout, and a small horn above the eyes. Another early species, Guanlong, lived in late Jurassic China. Weighing only about 70 kilograms, it was fast, agile, and bore a crest on its head, likely for display. These fossils suggest tyrannosaurs started in Asia before spreading to North America across land bridges connecting Siberia to Alaska. By the early Cretaceous, tyrannosaurs were growing. Sinotyrannus already weighed nearly a ton, over 10 times heavier than its Jurassic ancestors. Then came Yutyrannus, preserved with feathers, confirming that some large tyrannosaurs were feathered. These early giants were already intelligent, with proportionally large brains, showing that smart hunting strategies evolved long before sheer size made them dominant. Intelligence likely helped them survive for millions of years in ecosystems with larger carnivores. True giants appeared 80 to 84 million years ago. In Canada, Albertosaurus reached 9 meters long and 2 to 3 tons. In the United States, Daspletosaurus and Gorgosaurus dominated, while Labacania lived further south in Mexico. These massive tyrannosaurs were the rulers of their regions long before T-Rex appeared, showing that the lineage had a long history of success. The ancestors of T-Rex likely came from Asia, where Tarbosaurus thrived. They may have migrated into North America, replacing smaller tyrannosaurs as the dominant predator. But discoveries like Tyrannosaurus macriensis, 12 meters long and predating Rex by 5 to 7 million years, suggest giant tyrannosaurs evolved in North America independently as well. A 2022 study controversially proposed that fossils once assigned to T-Rex represent 3 species: Tyrannosaurus imperata, the ancestor, and its 2 descendants, T-Rex, the king, and T. regina, the queen. While biologically plausible, most paleontologists remain skeptical. For now, T-Rex remains the single recognized species. Yet this debate highlights how dynamic the story of tyrannosaur evolution really is, full of migration, adaptation, and the rise of one of Earth's most formidable predators. Whatever the exact species story, one fact is clear: T-Rex was one of the most powerful predators ever. Its reign ended suddenly 66 million years ago, when an asteroid slammed into the Yucatán Peninsula at over 40,000 kilometers per hour. The collision triggered massive earthquakes, vaporized shallow seas, and sent molten rock flying into the sky, raining down as fire. Global wildfires erupted, ash and smoke darkened the atmosphere, and for decades Earth was cold, dark, and toxic. Everything that made T-Rex dominant, its enormous size, appetite, and need for abundant prey, became a liability. With ecosystems collapsing and plants dying, herbivores vanished, leaving no food for the massive predator. One day, Rex was the apex of its world. The next, it was gone. Some hatchlings may have been born after the impact. Tiny feathered chicks facing a planet buried in ash. These last Tyrannosaurus probably didn't survive, falling prey to starvation, cold, or opportunistic mammals. The very last living Rex might have been a chick struggling in a hostile, sunless world. Yet T-Rex is far from forgotten. Through its bird descendants, it survives biologically. Birds today carry the legacy of these ancient predators. Its fossils have inspired generations, giving us a window into evolution, deep time, and the fragility of life. Beyond science, T-Rex thrives in human imagination. From museum halls to blockbuster movies, it has become a symbol of power, terror, and fascination. Its image is at once alien and familiar, a predator whose bones connect us to a deep, ancient past. By studying Rex, we explore not just a species, but a planet's story. Its life reminds us that even the greatest rulers can fall suddenly, and that life on Earth is fleeting and delicate. In this way, T-Rex transcends extinction, leaving a legacy of curiosity, awe, and wonder that continues to shape our understanding of nature.